Well, welcome to Streaming Star Wars, the live Star Wars talk show, the original, the OG live Star Wars news conversation. I'm Pete Fletcher. I'm one of your three hosts. I'm also joined every week, well, most weeks, for some combination of the three of us, by Mr. Nick Milkey. Nick, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful, gentlemen. Good to see both of you. It's good to be back after a week off.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, we are so glad you are back. Maybe we'll get some callers this week. There's something nobody wants to talk to me. Everyone wants to talk to Nick. And we're also joined by Chris Ryans. Chris, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good. It's good to see you guys.
It feels like it's been a longer week than it was. Maybe because last week was the short week, and this week there was I just like Friday just could not get here fast enough. So so if you're listening to this on the replay, thank you so much for hanging out with us. If you're watching us live, thank you so much for coming and spending time with us. You know, I tweeted something about this the other day. I just want to say it, and I know you guys are all in agreement with me. I think you seem like decent people, so I'm pretty sure you're with me in that. Just so appreciative of the people who hang out with us on Friday nights or listen to our podcasts or go through the sort of extended network with, the Broaxium and the, all of us hanging out. There's like this great group of people who are Star Wars fans. And if you're listening now or you're watching now, we are so thankful for every one of you. So thank you so much for hanging out with us and being a part of this Star Wars family. It's something that I think you realize that, at least for me, because I don't work in a comic book shop. I mean, that's pretty awesome. But I don't get an opportunity to really talk about Star. Like if I go to my family and I'm like, "Hey, listen, did you notice in the back of Luthen's shop they're like, no, we don't care, Dad." So I'm just so thankful for all of you guys. But before we get going, Chris, I just wanted to ask you what has happened this week from a comic book perspective. Maybe just give us a little top level comic book. Just what hit this week?
This week was the first issue, I believe. The first issue of Daniel Jose Older's The High Republic Adventures, which is more of a it's more for it's an all ages book.
Okay.
Cool. But it isn't like, goofy, campy or anything like that. Like, there's a solid story there that anyone at any age could pick up and find riveting. And this one is awesome.
Is when you say all ages, is that what we call like a YA book, or is the young adult novel?
No. This one is different. This one is definitely an all ages thing. Yeah, for sure. So this is the first High Republic book through Dark Horse, because now Dark Horse is back to the house that Star Wars built. Dark Horse has some Star Wars comics games, so like all the hyperspace stories, which are these again all ages stories from around around the galaxy.
Yes.
And and of course the High Republic Adventures and a few others like stories from the Rancor, Tales from the Rancor Pit, which hit some shops and will hit more shops in January. So that was one of the things that came out this week. That was amazing. Yeah,
that's awesome. Cool. Nick, why don't we do a little bit of housekeeping and then we'll kick off. So tonight, I'm sorry, I'm like saying things and then I'm stopping people because you know what? It's been a long week. I said that already. We are going to open up the lines for calling in early. We're going to get that where we want people joining us the whole night, and we're going to bring back the Disturbances in the Force segment, which we'll get to in just a minute. But first, before we get to that, Nick, hit us with some housekeeping, bud.
Absolutely. I hope I'm not out of practice being out last week. Maybe I'll remember all the things I'm supposed to remember. But
we'll help
if you like this show, if you like Pete or Chris or me, go to atgcast.com. You can find information about Podcasts of the Wills. You can find information about Around the Galaxy, streaming Star Wars, our Patreon program, all those things, all those places. We also encourage people to check out facebook.com/streaming Star Wars. And I don't know, Pete, if you know what the count is on that. But we were pushing for 150 people on the Facebook page. When we get to 150, we're going to give some stuff away. We still want to do that. We still want to continue to grow that page and kind of expand into the Facebook world, Facebook territory, just, other places for people to hang out and talk about Star Wars with us. We have merch also on atgcast.com, Weird Space Friends, shill shirts, stickers, mugs, you name it. It's all there. Go get it, buy it. And I have to tell this story online or on air just because it's been a running joke with Pete and I for several weeks now. And I think I mentioned it one time. On the Podcast of the Wills TeePublic page, there is a very weird t-shirt that is a McRib sandwich wearing a Santa hat. And it says, McRib you a Merry Christmas. And I made it as a joke a year ago for a friend of mine, threw it up on that page, have really literally never talked about it in public, but somehow the TeePublic algorithm has picked it up. And I'm not kidding you. In the last 2 weeks, I believe like 20 people have bought them.
Good Lord.
Like,
yeah.
The weirdest.
So this is your creation.
Yes, it's my creation.
Did you have the flu, had a dream, some crazy fever dream that went, yes. And let me just make this real quick.
I was on somebody else's show, and it was something they said that sparked that weird bad Photoshop gene that I have. And I have no problem like Photoshop. Like I'll have to send you the picture I made earlier this week, Chris, of the three of our heads on like vintage kids Christmas Star Wars pictures.
Oh no!
Like people wearing the Burt, what's his name, Halloween costumes, what were the old Halloween costumes with the plastic shirt and the mask?
I forgot the name of the company, but yes,
Ben Cooper, the Ben Cooper costumes. There's a picture that I found on the internet, and I put all of our heads on it because weird Photoshop is kind of my jam. Anyhow, not relevant to housekeeping. McRib sandwich shirt because I mentioned our merch. Anyhow, we have friends hanging out in the chat, and they've already put up with me talking about a McRib Christmas t-shirt. So Dale's here, Brian's here, Half Moth is here. That is Brian. Finnessy is here. Other Brian is here.
Right.
Dale, Roke, Anakin Skywalker was here earlier. JD, lots of friends hanging out. Lots more friends going to join us along the night. And we hope we get to hear from you because, as Pete said, we're going to throw that link out a little bit earlier, right after Pete does the Disturbances in the Force segment. We're going to go ahead and throw the link in the chat. We're going to talk about the news of the week. We're going to do Growing Up Star Wars. Chris has got some good stuff on deck for us for that. And we want to hear from all of you and have you part of this because that's how it works when you're a part of the conversation. So before I get out of the way, before I hand it over to Pete for the news, I would be remiss if we don't have our toast for the week. And it hit me kind of late that I didn't have like a really good Disney, Star Wars, something related, toast. I've done that the last few weeks. But talking about something that you mentioned, Pete, having these conversations, getting to get together with friends and talk about Star Wars, to be with our weird space friends. But honestly, even since Thanksgiving last week, and, whether it's family, whether it's your found family, whether it's your family, your friend family, like I am so thankful. And the toast that I'm raising tonight is a toast to my friends. Certainly the two of you. Over the last couple of days, I've gotten to have really great, deep conversations with friends, both in person and on the telephone. And that's what life is about. Like whether you have a raw deal with a family or whether you have a great family, like our friends are our family as well. And this Star Wars family is key and important to me. And so tonight, as we get ready to dig in and have a deep conversation about fun Star Wars news and other things, I want to raise my glass to my Star Wars friends and family. Sagrona.
Sagrona Tima. Awesome.
Oh, the ratio. Remember that bottle that I bought like a few weeks back? This is the last of it.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
I am not a drinker, so yeah.
I
bought that 20
it's not going to
minutes ago.
focus, but I spent the week in Asheville, North Carolina last week, and we went and visited the Biltmore estate, and I had to pick up a new whiskey glass that is decorated with the Biltmore on it. So
nice.
Nothing like going on vacation and coming home with more drinkware.
That is amazing. Cool. Well, Nick, why don't we do you want to hit the news and just get that going, and then we can dig into the show and we can talk content again. As soon as the news is over, we'll bring up the link and we'll ask you if you want to talk about anything in the news this week, because it was a remarkably busy news week. considering it's been so quiet lately.
Absolutely.
We're gonna get you all involved. So hey, let's hit the news. That's funny. Okay. Well, The Mandalorian gets a release date. The Acolyte promises a Sith story, and Indiana Jones returns with a trailer for Dial of Destiny. Give us 5 minutes, and we'll give you the galaxy. Well, another week, another flood of news, rumors, clickbait, and conversation. This is Pete Fletzer, and welcome to Disturbances in the Force. Let's get to it. Lucasfilm announced in a tweet on Thursday that there is finally an official release date for season 3 of The Mandalorian. The short announcement said simply, The Mandalorian and Grogu return on March 1st, only on Disney+, accompanied by a photo of Din and Baby Yoda. While at CCXP in Brazil, Jon Favreau was quoted as saying, quote, Season 3 is bigger in scope than previous seasons. There's more space battles, more Mandalorians, and some surprises. Those in attendance at CCXP also saw exclusive concept art of the upcoming season. Additionally, earlier this week at the Disney APAC Showcase, new footage from the season was shared that, according to Bespin Bulletin, set up Bo-Katan as the antagonist for the next round of episodes. As shared by Lucasfilm, Mando Season 3 begins on March 1st on Disney+. As anticipation builds for the upcoming Jedi Fallen Order video game sequel, Jedi Survivor, easy for me to say, a new book was also announced on StarWars.com called Star Wars Jedi Battle Scars. The cover art features the Inquisitor, known as the Fifth Brother, who appeared first in Star Wars Rebels and was played by Sung Kang in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. According to the official synopsis, Cal Kestis has built a new life for himself with the crew of the Mantis. On what should be a routine mission, they meet a stormtrooper determined to chart her own course with the help of Cal and the crew. In exchange for help starting a new life, the Imperial deserter brings word of a powerful, potentially invaluable tool for their fight against the Empire. And even better, she can help them to get it. The only catch, of course, is pursuing it will bring them into the path of one of the Empire's most dangerous servants, the Inquisitor, known as the Fifth Brother. Can the Imperial deserter truly be trusted? And while Cal and his friends have survived run-ins with the Inquisitors before, how many times can they evade the Empire before their luck runs out? Jedi Battle Scars will be available on March 7th, 2023. Among the many Disney Plus series that are currently in development, one of the most intriguing may be The Acolyte. Set about 100 years before the events of The Phantom Menace, this Leslie Headland series has been shrouded in secrecy, revealing only from the official synopsis that says a former Padawan reunites with her Jedi Master to investigate a series of crimes, but the forces they confront are more sinister than they anticipated. Well, that was the only word we had until one of the stars of the show, Daphne Keene, gave some additional clues while speaking to the Tech Radar site earlier this week. The child star of Logan and His Dark Materials told the publication, quote, it's kind of an explanation of how the Sith infiltrated the Jedi. It is a Sith-led story, which has never been done before. The whole experience is wonderful, and I can't wait for people to see it. Star Wars The Acolyte is expected to air on Disney Plus in late 2023. According to Collider, the live-action series Andor, which aired its first season finale the day before Thanksgiving, has begun production for the follow-up season. According to Tony Gilroy at Star Wars Celebration, Season 2 will continue this 3-episode arc style, and however, in Season 2, each arc will tell the story of 1 year each, leading up to the opening of Rogue One. Diego Luna told Collider about Season 2, quote, I don't get shocked anymore about the quality of the writing because I know Tony, I know the writers, I know the process. And even though when you read something that is a work in progress, it's already better than half of what you've read before in your life. It's incredible. Most of what's happening in this season, I've known since we started planning Season 1. Structurally, it got tighter, and obviously by deciding to do just 2 seasons, things got compressed. But structurally, he had it clear from the beginning. Andor Season 2 is expected to drop in 2024 on Disney+. In Star Wars adjacent news, Thursday afternoon saw the release of the first trailer for the 5th and final installment of the Indiana Jones series of films that will feature Harrison Ford. The trailer gives us our first look at Indy and New York City, Phoebe Waller-Bridge and Mads Mikkelsen's characters, and the return of Sala. The film is called Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, and it'll be in theaters on June 30th, 2023. Well, that wraps it up for this week's Disturbances in the Force. Make sure to check out the ATG Cast podcast stream for more information, and check out let me try that again. That wraps it up for this week's Disturbances in the Force. Make sure to check out the ATG podcast stream for weekly one-on-one interviews with the people behind the fandom. This Thursday, Podcast of the Wills welcomes emerging TikTok star Cody Marler. Please subscribe for regular updates. Follow us on all your social media channels at ATGcast, and visit our website at atgcast.com to keep up with us, find our merch, and get information about supporting the show as an ATGcast patron. Thank you so much for listening, and may the Force be with you. All right, that was a little tougher than I remembered it the last time, but it's been a while. It's been a while.
That's right. It's been a minute.
So, hey, the lines are open. Let's talk about news. Nick, I was going to ask you which story was most appealing to you, but based on the hat,
whatever could you mean?
I'm going to guess you were pretty excited about Indiana Jones.
I mean, we have Henry Jones Jr. himself with a lightsaber that might get fashioned out of a paperclip. I mean, and I posted the video, and I texted you, Pete. We went back and forth about, was I going to post the video, because I'm not a reaction video guy. Like, I'm no Scotty J. Rowe, and I'm fine with that. Like, I'm very even keel with my emotions. If I think something's really funny, I'll just go, that's funny. And if that's what I say, like, like, I'm not a bust out laughing, I do get emotional. I may cry at something, but like, I was in the car yesterday when that trailer dropped, and I started to hit play, and then I stopped myself and went, this is a chance. Like, let's make a video and just see what happens. And it wasn't anything, crazy or over the top, but I loved watching that trailer. I'm so excited for, like, if there's anything, I said it in the video, if there's anything I love as much as Star Wars, it's Indiana Jones. Like, my entire childhood was wrapped up in those two properties. And I love Indiana Jones, and I don't talk about it nearly as much as I talk about Star Wars, but it's 1A, 1B. Like, there's no second seat. Honestly, Crystal Skull has problematic parts, and it's mostly like bad CGI and swinging through the jungle. But like, as time has gone by, it's not a terrible movie. Like, there's some parts in it that aren't great, but Raiders of the Lost Ark is one of the best movies of all time. End of sentence. Like, I love Indiana Jones. I love Harrison Ford. I love how much he enjoys and likes that character. We know he's had a rough relationship with Han Solo over the years. Wanting to be written out in Return of the Jedi, not wanting, and he's thankful. And I loved seeing when Force Awakens came out and kind of that late press tour where he was able to go, look, I realize what this has given me in my life. And he's kind of able to come back and pay homage to, what that has done for his career. But Indiana Jones, I think, is a different thing for him. And I'm so excited, guys. Like, I'm truly, John Rhys Davies back as Sala. Like, I mean, we lost, I forget the name of the actor that plays Marcus Brody. We lost him a few years ago. I'm interested to see if Toby Jones maybe fills some sort of Marcus Brody role. He wasn't Toby Jones in first Captain America. He was the scientist that worked for Red Skull, the little short.
Yes.
That's Toby Jones.
Zola.
And so, Zola, Armin Zola. So I'm interested to see what's going to happen with him. But I'm just excited for it. It's Indiana Jones, for crying out loud. Like, my childhood was back yesterday at 4:00 when I got to watch that trailer and just see, this character. You get the little build up, the little whatever, and then that music sting hits, and the hat and the whip are on the table, and then you get the reverse at the end of the scene in Raiders. It's him with the whip, and then all the guns come out. Like, it's indie, and I'm excited for it to be back. So that's my big one for this week.
Let me ask you two questions about it. There's, you're 100% right. I think when you really kind of press on it, you realize that, Indiana Jones any of the indie movies are right up there with Star Wars. You have the whole, there's that sort of cluster of films. There's indie, there's Star Wars, there's Close Encounters, there's E.T., there's Jaws. There's this sort of cluster of amazing films that are all, by the way, really closely related through George and Steven, of course.
Right.
I say that like they're buddies. They're actually out in the other room. They're waiting for me to finish.
Yeah, they're hanging out.
We're gonna call it short tonight. But the what's interesting there is, I think the reason we forget about that is because Raiders and Indiana Jones is Harrison Ford, and Harrison Ford is 76 years old or something like that now.
Yeah.
And this is his last Indiana Jones. And so how do you feel about that as a fan? This is where we were with Revenge of the Sith, 20 years ago almost.
Yeah.
This is this is the last hurrah. And I'll add to that some of the questions that people are coming up with this. So what is Phoebe Waller-Bridge's role in this? Is she going to move into that sort of thing? I'll throw it to you first, Nick, and then Chris, I'd love your thoughts on it too.
Absolutely. Well, and stat check, I just asked the big corporate computer smart home device that's sitting on my desk that I'm not going to say their name so they don't activate right now. Harrison Ford is 80 years old.
80?
Yes, he is 80 years old.
Wow, that is almost as old as me.
That's right. Close. Y'all almost could have ridden dinosaurs to school together. Absolutely, it's going to be bittersweet for this to be the last Indiana Jones Harrison Ford project. But yes, Dale got it. Yeah, I didn't want to say her name. It's very much going to be bittersweet, but there's also that part of me that hopes that the movie doesn't necessarily make that a thing, if that makes sense. Like, I don't need a big emotional, Indy dies at the end. Indy, like, we already get set up just in this trailer at the beginning when he's talking, I miss the ocean, I miss this, I miss that, like the adventures, and he's talking to Sala. I'm kind of excited for it to just be another pulpy Indiana Jones adventure that ends in some way. And then I'm very interested in the prospect of maybe Phoebe Waller-Bridge as what does it say, his goddaughter.
Yeah.
We see her in a couple of those car chase action shots. She's hanging on the back of the car. Like, that may be just a product of that scene, or it may be that she's got the adventuring gene, and I'd be down for some furthering adventures. I love her as an actress. I love all the things she's been in. She's L3. Right. What's the series that's on Prime that's so good?
Fleabag.
God, I love Fleabag. It's such a good show. So yeah, I'm totally open to all those possibilities. I'm totally open to seeing where they go with it. But honestly, I'm just excited for another indie adventure. I really just, I'm excited to see what they give us. I'm excited about it being Mangold. I mean, Mangold did Logan. He did, he's got some good movie cred. So let's see what that story is.
And he's not afraid to tell the trolls to take a flying leap, as he
That's
did today.
Absolutely right.
Chris, where are you coming down on this movie?
I'm very excited for it. I watched Nick's reaction, and I was like, like Roke and I were talking about it today, where it was like he didn't really like or anything like that. I'm like, no, he's not 20. So,
but I kept doing this. I kept leaning into the screen because I wanted to watch the details. Like, that's my move.
Like that's how you like, yeah.
That's because your eyesight's going.
Yes.
But I, as a kid, I love the indie series. Like I almost put that in, like, it's in the Star Wars universe somewhere. Like it all, like you were saying, Pete, like it all. There's a grouping of movies, and with Star Wars, indie, Jaws, Close Encounters and stuff. I feel that same way. This, like, if there's ever a true, outside of Goonies, if there's ever a true like adventure movie series, it's indie.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so very glad to see it come back. It's gonna be great to see Harrison Ford do his thing. And this is John Williams' last film.
I think so. Yes. I think you're right. Yep.
See, that was that. Ooh, man, that was like at Celebration. That was. We were. Like,
I may not have freaked out at the trailer. But when we were at Celebration and we were at that panel, and John Williams played the indie theme and Harrison Ford came out, I cried. I will fully admit right here on this podcast that hit me in those feels, because again, that's my entire childhood right there in a room that I'm
Right.
also sitting in. It was
Right.
that was powerful for sure.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And I like I was going back and forth like since the trailer came out. Like I wonder if this is gonna be a swan song. Oh, of course it's gonna be the last one. But like, are they gonna kill him off and send it to a next generation? Or are they gonna? Thankfully, it's not Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, in retrospect, I'm also glad about that.
But I hope that Indiana Jones just lives and he just rides off into the sunset or something.
Same.
Or or just some kind of like a Luke looking at twin sons, but not twin sons, but it's in the same universe. So maybe twins.
Maybe he has twin sons. And that's
and they're very bright.
Oh,
they're floating in the sky.
Twin Chris Pratts that somebody predicted like 5 years ago was going to replace. No, maybe not that either. Well, I want to come back. I want to keep talking about the news, and I want to get into some of these other stories, and I want to hear your thoughts if you have anything else about Indy Pete. But I did want to remind everybody, the call line is open now. Look at the link is scrolling across the bottom of the screen. Go ahead and jump in here. We want to hear your thoughts on the news. We want to hear your thoughts on the next segment when we get into growing up Star Wars. We're just kind of doing calls all night. Whoever pops in, whoever shows up, we're going to bring you in, drag you along with us. So hit that link, get in line, and let's do that. Pete, what were your Indy thoughts or takeaways?
It's funny. I think the whole concept of trailer reactions has made us kind of bring expectations to trailers as well. And it started and I was like, oh, okay, it's just an indie thing. And then the thing that got me was because I didn't watch it with captions at first, so I didn't know that was Sala. And when the camera hit, like, it was cool to see old Harrison Ford, but old Sala, I was like, because Sala was my favorite character of the first
such a good
indie
character
movie of Raiders. What is it, the thief of I just love that. And Bad Dates is one of my favorite lines of all time. So the fact
is he like you go first? That was him. Like he,
yes.
But and Sala is, he's the Indy has had so many sidekicks between him and Brody and so it's just it brought back all the nostalgia. Whereas I feel like Crystal Skull, it wasn't nostalgic. I will have to watch it again because it did fall flat. And I'm honestly, I guess the best way for me to put it, at the risk of sounding like a jerk, is I'm glad that's not the last indie, because
absolutely
I feel like, and looking at this, it captured that sort of look and feel, right? Because I think Crystal Skull was a little bit shinier. It was a little bit like the sheen was a little bit different, whereas this, at least from the trailer, it's got that same sort of dustiness that you want from your indie movie. So I'm super excited. I can't wait. And I mean, was it June 30th of next year? Right?
Yep.
For sure.
Well, what about other stuff in the news, whether it's the news that you read for us in Disturbances in the Force or other things that's on any of our radars this week? What else do y'all have?
Chris, did any of the news stories hit you?
I know we're going to talk about one part of this next week, but I really enjoyed the first 2 episodes of Willow.
Yeah, I've watched 3/4 of the first one. I just got distracted, so I didn't get back to it. And I thought, without spoiling anything, what was it about it that you loved? Because I'll tell you what I loved about the first 45 minutes. But
one thing that got me, and it took me a minute to really get used to it, but then I was like, okay, I kind of dig this, is the very, like, for us, real worldish verbiage that they have. They speak with. And at first I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. They're not all doing but I like it. I like it. I like, I don't want to spoil too much for you, but there's some nice little callbacks with Willow when we finally meet up with Willow that I thought were awesome. I love the mystery around Mad Mardigan. Like, if he is dead or if he's still out there somewhere questing of some kind or something. I don't know how they're going to bring Val Kilmer back and have him do dialogue or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because
it's heartbreaking.
It's good to go back to that world. I remember when I was a kid. What did it come out? 88. I was 13.
88.
I remember when I saw the Lucasfilm logo pop up first, and then this whole trailer playing. I was like, it's a new Star Wars movie. Like that was just my thought. Like it's on another planet or something like that. Yeah. So I was very excited for that when it came out, and yeah, I absolutely loved it. So I'm really interested, and we'll talk about that next week. Where I think this series will go.
So if you're listening or watching, catch up on your Willow before you join us next Friday night, because Chris and I are going to take a deep dive. There were two things that I loved about it, which are completely unrelated to plot, which is why I can't wait to go back and get caught up. Number one was, again, similar to the indie trailer. It didn't feel like, sometimes you see a reboot or a follow-up that is literally 40 years later, almost, whatever it is, 35 years later, and it doesn't feel like it's in the same universe. This feels like they recaptured that. The other thing that I am blown away by, absolutely blown away by, is the character of Kit, who's Mad Mardigan's daughter. She is Val Kilmer. She is like,
absolutely.
She has captured everything about Val Kilmer in Willow. The way she stands, the way she talks. That opening sword fight with her and I can't think of the actress's name, but just
Erin Kellyman.
Yeah, Erin Kellyman. That opening sword fight. She's totally Val Kilmer, and that's what pulled me in. And I immediately wanted. I'm so glad that she's in this show.
Yeah. I've only seen the first 15 minutes of the first episode, so I'm even more behind than Pete is. I am interested. I am going to finish it and keep up and watch it because, like you, Chris, I was 10 when Willow came out in '88. It was something that I saw in my childhood and enjoyed, but it was not necessarily like something I carried with me. Like I saw it. It was a movie I saw. It definitely connects me to being a kid. We watched it with the girls sometime last summer, maybe, with my girls, and they enjoyed it and it was fun. But just in those first 15 minutes, like we're talking about, first of all, I have a huge Erin Kellyman crush. Like I'm just putting it out there between Enfys Nest, Flag Smashers, and Winter Soldier and Falcon, Falcon and Winter Soldier. Like I love her. I'm on board for everything she does. So
stunning.
Keep going. But to come back to your point, Pete, it felt like Willow. It felt like I haven't even gotten to the part where Willow shows up yet. That's how early I am into it. But to have Saoirse back, the same actress to be back, Saoirse, and that it's so good. Dale's right. Enfys Best. That's exactly what we're calling her now. I'm excited for it. I really am. It's, it's a story, and it's also really funny. I texted one or both of you this the other day. I'm in the throes of a full Game of Thrones rewatch after House of the Dragon finished, and charging and plowing my way through. And so to come back to a similar fantasy land where you're talking about lords and knights and magic, like there's some connecting points there that I was like, this language automatically feels instantly familiar instead of jumping from Star Wars or Yellowstone or something else that I'm watching to another fantasy thing. Because of course I didn't do Lord of the Rings. That's not my jam. But yeah, so I'm excited about it. I can't wait to keep watching and also catch up watching you guys talk about it next Friday.
Well, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Chris, please.
No, I was just going off of your thing about watching Game of Thrones again. When I was watching this show, and then some violence would start to happen, I would forget that it is a Lucasfilm, sort of all ages kind of story that's going on. I'm like, oh, here comes the gore. Here it is. I'm like, and then it doesn't happen. I'm like, oh, that's right. This is not
it's not the Red Wedding.
Yeah, it's not the Red Wedding. But yeah.
All right, Pete, we have a question in the chat. Pete, Benny wants to know, did you first see Willow in the theater or on VHS?
I saw it in the theater.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. In Newton Theater in Sussex County. Just this little, I remember seeing it with my one of my best friends growing up, Matt, next door neighbor. And I also saw Dark Crystal with Matt as well. But the thing that I wanted to point out before we take a commercial break and go on to our next segment is this is an important series for Disney Plus, because the last 10 weeks between She-Hulk and Andor My son has not cared at all about anything, and he's 10. He's target audience. He hasn't cared about anything at all on Disney Plus. He watched the first episode of Willow, and the next day he said, "That Willow show is really cool. When's the next episode out?" And I was like, "Well, you're in luck. It's already out. We can watch it." So that is really cool and really important because there hasn't been anything other than the Christmas shows for the kids audience right now. So I think it'll be interesting to see where that ends up going. So speaking of where things end up going and kids, we're going to take a break, but when we come back, we are going to have sort of our first, I guess we can call it sort of our first unofficial. We played it a couple weeks ago. We're back to it this week, growing up Star Wars and talking about digging into our own collections, going back to some vintage stuff. If you're watching us and you got some of your vintage stuff handy, please dial in. Hit that.
Yep.
Fry's already, Brian Fry's ready with a slew of amazing items.
He better be.
Yeah.
So we'll be back with Growing Up Star Wars after this.
It's that time of year again, Life Day, and all those other holidays. And that also means it's gift-giving season. What better way to say happy holidays than with a colorful t-shirt emblazoned with my face? Nothing says I love you like giving a mug that reminds someone that they're one of your weird space friends. Proudly slap stickers on your personal belongings that declare that yes, you are a shill. With more than 30 designs, all the sizes and colors, you are sure to find something that'll make you whip out your credit card and buy something you'll have to explain to whoever's doing your laundry these days. Check back regularly for new designs, and if you see something you like, make sure to snag it before our Disney overlords remove it for borderline copyright infringement. Head on over to atgcast.com today and click the merchandise button. That's atgcast.com. And happy Life Day to those who celebrate.
The biggest shill of all of us, ATG3, aka.
I appreciate that, Shill, because he ran his mouth just long enough for me to leave my chair, go get some more ice, and be back, and nobody would have ever been the wiser.
And, let's say, speaking of shill, if you buy something during the holiday season from our merch shop, send me a picture of whatever you ordered, just your order. I don't need to see it on you, although whatever, that's cool. I'm weird that way. If we have a handful of shill keychains available that we can send out. We had ordered some before Star Wars Celebration. They're sitting here. They're waiting to go to our friends, our shill friends, and so
that's right. I've got a stack of stickers too. Like we've got all kinds of. We'll send some stuff out. So
Chris is like, how come I don't have this?
Check some things out.
I mean, I have my stuff from Celebration still, but
I was gonna say I unloaded a bunch of it on Chris because I didn't want to have to bring it back home with me, and I still couldn't get rid of enough of it. I've got a bag full of buttons with Clanker's stupid face on it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But that's okay because I also have right here in my reach my comic that I got from Chris Ryan's when I was at Celebration.
You'll never open it. Why did I even
Let's not get crazy.
I have Chris Ryan's face on my laptop with his Broaxium this sticker. So, but hey, that way I can see you. I can see, yes, I can see you whenever I want. But let's turn it over to Chris and let's talk a little bit about vintage Star Wars content in collectibles.
So I am a very nostalgic person. I'm sort of a pack rat where I don't normally get rid of things because I love holding on to things from the past. And so I've been wanting to talk with these two in particular for a while, just about stuff that we grew up with. And, like when Star Wars was in its infancy, pretty much.
Yep.
Right.
And what was like growing up and being a fan, and not a fan like it is today, because back then when we were kids, it was just Star Wars, and that's just what it was. Then it morphed into whatever our way of what we look at as the fandom. But I just wanted to do a little bit of a kind of like a show and tell kind of thing. We show some of our items that from our childhood. We talk about them, maybe some stories around them.
Sure.
And just for people out there that may be on the young side, So you know what it was like growing up Star Wars when it wasn't as
Yep.
ginormous as it is today.
Right, when you couldn't just turn on Disney Plus and watch
Right.
hours and hours
Every
and
Star
hours
Wars
and
that's
hours and hours
available.
and hours and hours.
You know, I often try to think what 8-year-old me would be like.
I wouldn't have been able to handle it.
Yeah. This is why when people say like, oh, there's I have Star Wars, what's that word they use? Exhaustion.
Yeah.
I'm like, when we were a kid, like, yeah, just put it in my brain. Give me that. Give me all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand that. It's insane. I don't get it.
Yeah.
But so I will start us off.
Absolutely.
This is these are things I used to collect as a kid, from A New Hope to Empire Strikes Back and to Return of the Jedi, and that's what I'm going to show right now. When I lived in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania, it's a suburb outside of Philadelphia. When the ice cream truck came around, I barely got ice cream out of this thing. I know it may not look that way, but I barely got any ice cream out of this thing. I was hunting down every ice cream truck I could find for Star Wars, for Topps Star Wars trading cards.
So your ice cream trucks carried cards as well.
Yep.
See, I used to walk I lived in this little town up in North Jersey, and I would walk to our general store, which was also our post. I know I sound like I'm 90 and I'm not, but the town that I grew up in New Jersey, a little town called Stillwater, New Jersey, which sounds like a tiny town because it was so small that they didn't have mail delivery. We literally had to go to, but at this general store, there was candy, there was food, there was magazines, and there was baseball cards and Star Wars cards. And it was 1 mile from my house. And in the summer, because safety was not yet invented, my parents went to work. We walked a mile on the main highway to go buy Star Wars cards. So seeing a pack
uphill both ways,
uphill both ways in the snow in the summer. But to see a wax pack of Star Wars cards right there just brings the
unopened. For those of you that are going to get the audio podcast version of this, we're going to try and do a good job of being a little bit descriptive, a little bit, checking out. Chris Ryans is currently holding up a Topps Return of the Jedi, 10 cards, 1 sticker, 1 stick of bubble gum, unopened wax pack of Star Wars cards to the camera right now.
I am not opening this thing.
I was going to say,
JD, I am not eating the gum. Why would you wish harm upon me? We're live, for goodness sake.
Yeah,
that's
amazing. So, did you have like the full set? Did you collect?
I think I did have them all. There were because if I can remember correctly, there were 2 runs of this one. There was one that had like a red border, like a red border, then like a yellow inner border, and then the next one was a blue border, and I think with another yellow inner border, something like that. So the blue ones, I don't think I had all of them, but the reds, I'm pretty sure I had them all. And trading card right to its name. Me and my friends, my best friend back then, Pat McCready, and a few others, we'd always trade cards and whatnot, and we'd all have doubles and triples and such, and just trade them out and everything. Oh, so much fun. I think I had my first bike related injury chasing after the ice cream truck for this thing. I'm just riding my bike and I hear it because we're kids and we got that ice cream truck hearing. So I hop on my bike and I'm just going, and I have tunnel vision at this point because all I see is the ice cream truck. I am riding on the sidewalk, which is still safety. It's not It's not a thing. And as I'm just looking at the ice cream truck, I remember all I heard was poof, and the bike and me flipped over, boom, 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 just tumbling across the street a little bit. Oh, I hope my mom isn't listening. And cut myself up and whatnot. Got up. I'll take 3 packs. It was just it didn't matter. I just beat myself up. Got these packs. I had to have them. He's so addictive. If I couldn't get action figures, I was getting the cards. So yeah, I love these things. It was it was almost like looking at a little view of the movie. Like I just needed it so much because I don't think I had the VHS back then, and I think I did see Return of the Jedi in the theater like 13 times.
Whoa.
I think probably
Yeah,
more
Wow.
with special editions. But yeah.
Did you collect the original Star Wars cards? Because those I remember as well. Because the I'll never forget the blue border with the little white stars that were built into
Yeah, I remember those. I think my brother had those before I did because I was I didn't know what to do. So I put them in my mouth or something. But I did have some of those originals. I had a few of the Empire Strikes Back ones, and yeah. But Return of the Jedi, when I was using like my own money, so to speak, that's I would forego whatever else, and I just get these cards.
Amazing. She Danny just put up the Hell on Hoth, and I remember the Empire Strikes Back cards too, because those looked a little bit different. So
they were it's like a grayish silver border, I think.
Yep, it was. Yep.
Well, I have to chime in on this subject simply because you're talking about tops, you're talking about cards, and it is also relevant because of the indie thing. Apparently, I'm just in indie mode this week.
That's good.
Special shout out to friends of all of our shows and ATG Cast patrons, Frank and Amy, fellow Alabamers, Framey, if you will. They sent me, sometime last year, they sent me a package of some stuff. They sent some stuff for the girls because they listened to the Marvel podcast that we do with my wife and the girls and all that stuff. They sent me this.
What is that?
A set of the Topps Raiders of the Lost Ark cards.
Wow.
Now, it's the whole set. And it's the wax pack on the front. And so I've gotten this out. It's, the package is just the package.
Yep.
Notice the Hex 25-cent sticker on it. Hex was a department store in the West Virginia.
Yep.
So these cards at some point originated in West Virginia. Same thing. 10 photo cards, a stick of bubble gum, and it's the complete set right here. All the green backgrounds. We've got Harrison. We've got Raiders. I'm just going to hit a couple of highlights here. Actually, I'm trying to keep them in order, so I'm not going to do that. We've got the lovely Marion Ravenwood, Belloc, of course, everybody's favorite, as we just discussed, Saleh himself, John Rhys Davis. But so much stuff. The Raven Bar, in case you didn't know, that's what it was called in Nepal. It was called the Raven Bar.
Named after our friend Raven?
Yeah.
That's right. Clearly named after Raven. Mysterious Medallion. This is one of my favorites. The creature called Tot. He wasn't a person. He was a creature. The creature called Tot. What else is in here? Sea of Serpents. Trapped in the Well. I Hate Snakes. Just so much. Again, my childhood. The whole whatever. And like any good card set, it's got the checklist.
Yes, the checklist.
So that you can go through, so that you can make sure you've got them all. So a huge, huge, huge thank you to Frank and Amy for sending this to me. It is truly one of my favorite treasured, just collectible anythings I have. And because I had it sitting nearby, and Chris, I knew you were talking about cards and tops, and Indy is certainly.
I think I found mine. I'll be right back. Guys. I think I found mine.
Here it goes. See, here it goes. He's off. He's out of the house. Pete, what about you and cards? Did you do a lot of cards growing up? I had baseball cards. That was my biggest thing.
I did baseball cards.
I never had a Star Wars card.
No, never a card. Really?
Never did. I never had a Star Wars card growing up.
We had the Star Wars cards. Me and my friends in the neighborhood, we traded them until we all got the full set. And it's funny though, because right now my son is doing the whole Pokemon thing, which I don't understand. But what's interesting is they don't. I assumed they played Pokemon, but they just collect the cards and they trade them and stuff. So it's cool to watch him do that. Like my part of my brain is this is just dumb, and then the second part of my brain is no wait, I did that. It's not dumb. It's amazing. He's putting them in his little card things. But yeah, the Star Wars cards. I mean, for me, I know Chris showed the Return of the Jedi card, but for me, it was that first set of Star Wars cards, and I remember the blue borders and the red borders and the orange borders, the green borders, the yellow borders. It was they played a big role for sure for me. Yeah,
absolutely.
All right.
And
Chris has returned.
Look, oh, Chris is back.
Well, so I not so much luck. I didn't find them, but a few years back, I did buy 3 books, 3 hardcover books. I don't know if you could zoom on that.
There you go.
Oh, yes. Oh my
so this book, and it's got like the same kind of. It's got this the cover's like the same same wax paper. Like it's amazing. And then it'll have like have some of the cards inside.
Yeah,
they'll talk about each one.
Oh my gosh! Wow,
Yeah.
What book is that? What book is that? Because I have to get that.
It's just Star Wars Tops, the original Tops trading card series, Volume 1, which is New Hope.
Nice.
I Chris, when we're done, send me a picture of the cover of that book because I'm gonna get myself a Christmas gift. I'm gonna get that. Oh my goodness! Holy
hell. Like the cover alone is worth buying that.
Absolutely. I'm
holy hell! Yeah, I'm gonna need that. I'm gonna need to know what that is as well. I'm gonna need that in my collection.
That oh my gosh!
Holy right?
Cow. Wow.
Yeah,
that book is beautiful.
Oh, I love these. Another
random Ugnaughts into the carpet. Oh my gosh! If I get this book, I'm gonna have such flashbacks.
Yep. What did
I have
say?
To
it was
tell...
Helen Hoff. I wonder if that's on.
Yeah. And I think originally, her message was supposed to be hello from Hoth because she's in Canada and it's probably snowing. But Hell on Hoth is also appropriate. So I want to tell a very, very quick story that relates to cards, Indiana Jones, and Star Wars, just the whole thing to crystallize it together. And I wanted to save it till Chris got back. The Indiana Jones hat, this hat right here that I had on my head, and somebody's heard me tell this story before. This hat has on this side of it, it's Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. There you go. Pepsi. Nice. This was a Pepsi promotion in '89 when Last Crusade came out. I wanted this hat so badly. It was a Pepsi promotion. It was one of these like send in like 15 UPCs from 12 packs of Pepsi and shipping and handling. Well, my aunt Nancy, who lives in Illinois, who will not see this podcast or this show, but is amazing. She bought that much Pepsi to get me this hat when I was a kid. Like,
how much Pepsi was that?
Like, well, but here's the thing: she bought 2 hats worth because she got me a hat and she got her a hat because she also loves Indiana Jones and Star Wars and helped bring me into some of that stuff growing up. Was kind of that cool aunt that taught you things. So she got me this hat, and it was special, and it was important, and it was whatever. At some point after I got it in '89, a few years later, doing what dumb kids do when they're 12 and 13 and 14, I traded my Indiana Jones hat that my aunt got for me for baseball cards.
See?
So I gave my hat to a kid in my neighborhood, and he gave me a bunch of baseball cards. She has never let me live that down.
I would
understandably. Several years ago with my twins, they went through a phase where simultaneously one was obsessed with Han Solo and one was obsessed with Indiana Jones.
Wow.
And it was fun and it was whatever. My aunt sent Lily, my twin, she sent me her Indiana Jones hat that she has had all these years.
Wow.
And she was like, Lily loves Indiana Jones. She needs to have this. Well, of course, I looked at my child and went, whatever day you decide you're done with that hat is mine. And this hat is now mine. It's the original one that my aunt got for her when she got me the other one that I foolishly traded for baseball cards. And it is, I don't know if you can see it inside. It is actually a Stetson hat.
Whoa.
Stetson, the known hat maker.
Yeah.
It came with the little logo on it, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. It's got the Pepsi logo. Like, I don't know what the shipping was, but probably 20 cases worth of Pepsi. It may have cost her some money, but like, it is a very, very treasured something to have. And it's funny that it connects to cards and card collecting and all that. So forgive me, but thank you for allowing me to share that dumb story.
But that's an awesome story. It is that sort of that full circle. But Benny Relp has told us here, Chris, that card number 130 from Return of the Jedi in mint condition is going for $1,200 on eBay. You may want to open up that pack. Look at him. He's thinking about it. He's thinking about it.
Oh, and Danny's got one too. You can get around 500 or so for a 77 Luke Skywalker card. If it's mint, you can get around 25K.
Holy cow!
Boy, oh boy.
Well, so here's that thing that we were all told. Here's that thing we were all told about baseball cards as a kid. Save your baseball kids; they're going to be worth baseball cards. They're going to be worth money, and you're going to retire on them because the Honus Wagner story and the whatever. I've got a box full of baseball cards, and they're not worth anything.
Not even the Don Mattingly's. Those were like the big ones, weren't they? No.
That King Griffey Jr. rookie card I've got, nothing.
It's like all my Phantom Menace action figures that are in a box. they're
just hanging out.
Oh man,
there it is.
There's book number 3.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that card number 130 is in here. I just can't do anything with it. But yeah,
wow,
so cool.
I'm kind of curious now. What is card 130? Can you look it up in that book?
Yeah.
Does it give you the numbers for the cards? And while Chris is looking that up, and while we're continuing this conversation, if you're watching, hit the link in the chat. We want to hear from you. Did you have Star Wars cards? Did you have Star Wars magazines? What is one of your growing up Star Wars things, collectibles? What are, some of that? We want to hear from you. We want to get some callers in here. I do have in front of me. Oh, what you got? It's Lando, isn't it?
I have many of this one. I'm sorry. I'm so upset. I gotta find my cards now. So it's look one, like, Toward Brighter Tomorrows. Yep.
Look at that.
Yep.
Look at that.
Yep. I'm on
right there.
I am going to find this.
Chris is about to retire early.
he's debating opening that pack.
He's eyeballing it. Well, I have this card that came out of a Star Wars Galaxy magazine.
Yep.
Nice.
If you happen to know one Pete Fletzer who wrote for Star Wars Galaxy magazine, you're in luck.
That's true.
The Galaxy magazine I have does not have a Fletzer article in it.
I can't believe you have it. Do you know?
That's still one of my Grail items. I need a Fletzer Star Wars Galaxy magazine. It's on my list.
Well, I'm glad I know that. I'll send you one, or you can buy them on eBay for upwards of $5 a piece. So they're
exactly. So I have this one because I did find one that had a bunch of Macquarie stuff in it, and I'm a big Macquarie, whatever. I do also have, just talking about cards, thanks to our friends at the Bombag Cast, Scotty J. Rowe. I have some Phantom Menace cards. They did a card show where they gave away packs of cards. And so we've got, the Final Battle, or a Jedi Falls. We've got the Reconfigurators. Is that what that is? Yep, it sure is. Yeah, so lots of Star Wars cards, lots of trading, lots of that kind of stuff. As this is a very visual thing we're talking about, and we're talking about it for people who are also going to listen on a podcast. What other growing up Star Wars stuff do y'all have tonight? Oh, Chris has got something. What has he got? Oh, he's got card backs.
Yeah.
Oh.
No figures in those. We've talked about this. I don't save. I didn't save them as kids. I ripped them open. I played with them. I was 8 years old. But
it's amazing. Is that your original?
Yeah.
You own that.
Yeah.
So I'm so envious
of
the things that Chris has that were his original things he had as a kid, because none of my stuff made it to my adulthood.
I don't know if you can see the pricing on this thing. Like, this is back when Star Wars figures were a little over $3.
Yeah. Whopping. So,
the proof of purchase is
so
going. This is probably
if you're listening to the podcast version, Chris just held up a Klaatu Return of the Jedi card back. What is that one?
It's for it
says the Emperor.
Proof of purchase.
So I can get the
the proof of purchase. I do have it, punched out. Which card back is that one, Chris?
This is for Low Gray.
Okay. Yep. So we've got Low Gray. We've got these card backs, no figures on them, but just the card backs themselves. The fact that you have them again
Now, do
It's
you guys
amazing.
remember
This one's
this?
got a Toys R Us sticker on it.
Remember they blacked out the Ewoks? I don't know if you guys remember that.
Why did they do that? I don't remember that.
I may have been some kind of spoilery thing. I don't know. I don't know the full story
Yes.
behind that.
It was a spoiler thing.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. How much was this one?
Yeah, they blacked out on the card back the Ewok
268.
figures
$268.
so that people would have to find them, differently. But yeah, it's got a Toys R Us sticker for $2.68.
Yeah.
The
good old days.
C-3PO holder case.
Yeah.
Did you have that?
No, I had the Vader one.
Yeah.
I had the Vader one. Yep.
Yeah. I think I also had the toy that I had, and I'm gonna bring one out next week. I have one toy that I absolutely I have, it needs work, but I remember the troop transport. That was my
yes.
The Mandalorian and Rebels finally brought into
correct.
Oh my gosh.
Made it
I
canon.
had that.
Yep.
I had that.
I have a big regret about that. I recollected one of those via eBay. And I actually opened it up and fixed the record player inside of it because it's actually a little tiny mini record player with the buttons.
Yep.
I fixed it. I got it working. And then I turned around and sold it on eBay like last year sometime. Actually, I sold it getting ready to go to Celebration to get some money to take to Celebration. And now I'm sitting here going, like, enough. But it's that whole thing of like, I got to go to Celebration and I wouldn't trade that for the world. But also I'm like, but that was one of those favorites, like core favorites. Like, so I'm going to need to get one of those again.
Like I still have my land speeder somewhere, like the first land speeder.
Yep,
the little wheels on the bottom.
But the third fin, exhaust thing is broken off. But that's something I don't know if I could ever. That's probably my favorite vehicle in Star Wars. Out of everything we've ever gotten, Falcon included, is the land speeder. Is probably my favorite.
That's amazing.
I
love that.
Man, I would love to. I can see if I can find that. I have one more thing.
Yeah. I have one other.
I know you guys don't like this kind of stuff, but it's the Return of the Jedi comic, the first one.
Oh,
first
wow.
of
Here's
4.
the thing. For as many times as it seems like I crap on the comic books, vintage comic books, I am in the tank for that. Like if I have some, if I can get some, like it's on one of my like I need to collect lists of things.
Look at that artwork. Look, that was back before they just took the stills from the film and just put them in different positions in comic books.
Yeah, they literally actually don't make them like that
anymore. I was wondering if you were going to catch me on that, but yeah, cool.
Yeah, I've got to look. Hang on, where did it go? I don't know if I can get to it quick enough. Talking about comic. These are all new comics. I have one somewhere. I bought it on eBay. I thought I was buying just an ad. It was like a old, because again, me with the artwork and the whatever. There was a vintage like Star Wars watch ad or whatever it was that I found on eBay for like $2. And then when they sent it to me, it was actually still inside of an intact Pink Panther comic book. And so like I've got the whole thing and it came in like the package with the board and the bag and the whatever. I want to show one other thing real quick, and then we actually do have a caller hanging out. And this is the caller that I was waiting for to call in because he has things.
You know he's got it. I know exactly.
He has things, and I know he has stuff to share with us, and that's exciting.
It's going to blow us all away.
Yeah, it's going to be good. But real quickly, I wanted to show this because we looked at it offline or before we got on air.
Yeah.
The movie viewer is... This one is Assault on the Death Star. It had these cartridges. They came out. There were multiple cartridges. I need to get the other ones. It's got the little hand crank. You look through the eye hole right here, and it's little like it's tape, like it's real, where you can do it. And I'm going to hold it up to the camera, and I'm not going to be able to crank it because it won't work. But if I get it and just there it is.
I can see the X-Wing fighter. Yeah.
It's not going to focus now, but.
There it is.
There it is. If you're listening, if you're watching at home, it was the old hand crank, almost like a Viewmaster, but different. It was a little, like almost like a hand camera. You held it up to your eye, and again, the sound is so satisfying.
Yeah, that's just the thing that brings me back is the sound of that thing.
Yep. And you can watch and you can focus it. It's got a little focus dial. This one's got the original decals on it. This one is actually, I noticed today, starting to come off. So I need to give it a little care, give it a little attention. But this is another one of those.
This is yours. Like this is yours.
No.
Oh,
Okay. This is eBay. Actually, this was $12 eBay.
Really?
I truly have nothing that was originally mine from Star Wars from my childhood. Like, I've recollected things like the Han Solo blaster, my favorite go-to, with its good sound effects.
Oh, yours still works. Wow.
Like I had this as a kid, loved this as a kid. This isn't mine from when I was a kid. This was an eBay find. But that movie maker, like, it was so fun, and I remember that very distinctly as a kid, clicking through those videos, and it just is another one of those fun, like, this reminds me of my childhood.
Yep, for sure.
Pete,
yes,
we have a caller.
We do.
And they have things that they want to share with us or talk to us about or whatever. So why don't we hit a caller video and get them in here?
Awesome. Let's do that.
Go for Papa Palpatine.
You have a collect call from
Darth Vader.
I gotta take this. Hold on.
There he
is. The man, the myth, the legend, Brian Fry. What's up, buddy?
Brian?
What's up,
you hear me all right?
What's going on, buddy?
Awesome. Yeah, one of these shows I would to maybe go portable and walk you through all of this. I am a pack rat. I think it's genetic. And this is 40 plus years of collecting behind me.
It's amazing. I love it.
And it was in bins for a very long time. And just before the pandemic hit, I started on a project, and then the pandemic hit, and I was just able to keep continuing that project of unpacking things. And I think I may have mentioned on a previous one of these shows, just kind of collating everything, sorting it, arranging it, figuring out where it needs to go, and then I need to start populating it, because that's basically vehicles. Stuff like the Cantina, there are some figures, but I still have. It was in one of the Potathon videos I did.
Yep, they dropped. Yep.
Yes.
I sorted out, like, this is A New Hope.
Oh, wow.
Amazing.
Including some of the vintage figures.
Yep.
And that's, everything is all sorted out now by movie. This is Empire. And it's mixed because, collectors don't stop collecting. So it's stuff from, I guess, 78 up through 2022. And it's going to have to stop growing, though. I think collectors will have to stop collecting, because
it's out of control.
I am learning that I don't have the shelf space. We did add on to the house. We added a cantina out off the back of the house, but
Nice.
thank you, Scotty. I may have to add like a museum wing out off the side of my office.
For sure. Rancho Obi-Wan East. That's what you were going for.
There you go. I've had the privilege of going out to Rancho, and it's just knee buckling. It's
I can't imagine.
The toughest thing is, it's all like museum stuff's usually behind a glass case, right? This is just out on shelves, but you're still not allowed to touch it. So you're like, oh, can I hold? And they're like, no.
Don't touch that.
Yeah. I had the privilege to walk through the Boba Mando setup that they had at Celebration. Actually, also shout out to our good friends Framey. They are members of Rancho Obi-Wan, and they had their little printout for members to be able to go and walk through the exhibit. And they're like, here, take this and go to the front of the line. Like, straight up hooked me up, got to go walk through. And even just for that small, tiny portion of it, like, it was utterly fascinating. Like, of course, I'm a sucker for all the old stuff. They had the Boba jetpack from Jedi that was the damaged one, and, all that kind of stuff. Yep, there he is. Weird Space Friend shirts. And with the ILM hoodie, just to make it even better. So,
of course. Look at it, Mr. Fashion Show. Look at that.
Yep. Got it. Showing it
Boba
off.
Fett.
But yeah, so
This is amazing.
yeah, Rancho and Rancho Obi-Wan and the archives are almost like right up there together, like places that I need to go to.
I've never been to the archives. I've been my header image on Twitter has been when I took my first action figures out to Lucasfilm for the first time to visit their grandparents, I guess, where they were first conceived. And when I finished these shelves, the first photo I took was like my original 12. I posted earlier today, actually. There's a guy that makes display cases that can fit a number of things, but I was mostly interested in like what you were showing, the loose card backs, because I still have a few of my original 12 backs.
Oof.
That's amazing.
And behind me, I put Luke in there because you could slot the card in and then stand the figure in front of the card as if it's
awesome
in the bubble.
Sweet.
And I've got actually part of my pack ratness is the cards.
All the backs.
Beautiful.
Had these since the 80s. You mentioned the land speeder. This has been
there. It is.
Hey, wait a minute, that's mine.
You send that back to Chris.
Yeah, it's broken off. That's fine.
One thing I mentioned this before. One thing I'm loving is the makers that are 3D printing parts.
Yes.
That you may have lost. Or may have broken. Like now, I'm gonna have to search for if someone has the rear engine on the land speeder. I can replace it.
Love that vehicle. Oh man.
One time, several years
there it is.
They had several.
There it is.
Divided up for like this is anything in this bin is $5. Anything in this bin is $10. Anything in this bin is $15. And I found a bin that had a bunch of
unreal
the troop transports in it, and I ended up just kind of stocking up on parts replacements.
Fantastic.
Or if I want to do like a Watto's junkyard kind of thing, I can have
beautiful
some derelict
Nubian.
Put it next to your cantina.
We have lots of that.
That's right.
Transports
only money. Well, welcome to the part of the show where everybody tries to do a Watto impersonation.
Is that
Weekly Watto?
Is that the OG Falcon behind you?
Yes. Over here in the Hoth section is my original Falcon as a kid.
Nice.
That I got as a kid. And that's the early 2000s.
Okay.
2010, 2012, something like that. It's funny because the original is like this, and it kind of can ride piggyback on top of the newer one. It almost could fit inside of it. That was a little more to scale.
Yeah.
How about this? Like, and it was weird because I never saw it in the movie, but I had the toy of it. It was a TIE fighter, but it was white.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have that?
Yep.
Yeah, there's a white tie and the blue tie?
God, I thought that was.
Yeah, I thought it was right behind it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful.
How are your stickers not coming off that?
Holly got me the Black Series First Order tie.
Yep.
And that thing is like
huge.
This old tie could fit under it. You could stand under it. Like
it's massive.
With the Black Series tie on the floor. Huge movie. Oh.
JD wants to know, how big is that room?
Not big enough, JD. Not big enough.
Well, and I also like on that top shelf up there, of course, as I'm also seeing the Star Tours ship behind you, kind of in the middle, but also one of the other kind of unsung favorites, like the Imperial troop transport, is also the Rebel troop transport that is also just up there off to the side of it. Yep, right. That one right there. Another just classic, especially in those scenes in Empire, at the end of Empire, when the fleet's coming back together, Luke and Leia on the thing, like, just, it's a good one. That was a figure carrier. Like, that was, you loaded it up with your figures.
I had that.
Lots of fun.
I'm pretty sure I lost it.
I think that was a good report.
As big as it was.
Toy.
Yeah. Nice. How about there was a couple of vehicles that there were a bunch of vehicles I didn't have. I never had I had the shuttle.
Yeah.
That was a very late a very
Did you
late.
have the Bestman twin cloud car? I never had that, and I'm so upset. Oh, there
Right
it
down
is.
there.
Yes,
Yeah, she's got everything.
beautiful.
It's like Where's Waldo and Brian's room. Like pick a
Yeah.
thing and just find it.
It's like talking to Steve Sansweet.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Again,
Next time I'll
Sweet
call
East,
in
that's it.
and like on the iPad and I'll go close up and
Love it.
here's the cantina.
We'll have to set something up where we can do a Brian
A
tours
walkthrough.
the room. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, speaking of that, Brian, thank you so much for calling in tonight. Thank you for participating in Growing Up Star Wars. You are a key part of this demographic, no doubt. And it's always good to see your face and hear from you. So I hope you have a great rest of the weekend. And also give our love to the fabulous Holly Fry as well.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right, they're in Texas at the moment at Elvis Costello.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Very good.
So good to see you guys
Awesome.
too. I was very
You
happy
too.
Man.
You too,
to
brother.
call in tonight.
Oh, thanks for having
Awesome.
Thanks for
See you,
coming
buddy.
on, man. Yeah.
Goodbye, old friend. May the force be with you.
Yeah, we definitely need to set up a tour of that room.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing stuff. Where do we go from here?
I think we've about capped ourselves off at this point.
I think we have. There was a ton of news this week. We'll keep an eye on that for next week. Next week, it's going to be just myself and Chris at this point. Who knows? We may end up with a special surprise co-host, but we're going to get into Willow. We're going to cover the news again, and we'll try to have fun with that, Nick. I don't know if we can pull it off, but we'll do our best. But Chris, what's coming up on the Bro Axiom group of billions of shows that you guys are doing all the time? I can't keep up with you guys. I do my best. I do
my best too. Let's see. We've got Shooting the Poodoo coming out on Sunday live on our YouTube channel. You can on Twitter and Facebook and all that stuff. We just dropped Star Bros podcast where they're discussing the last two episodes of Andor.
Cool.
And they call it, and I rolled my eyes so hard I think I heard something. Ferrex Bueller's Day On.
Oh,
beautiful. I don't know which one of those Punishers came up with that one, but
wow.
But yeah, I thought it was amazing. Let's see. This week in comics, we've got Hidden Empire 2. I think is coming out this coming week.
Cool.
Charles Soule's crossover. Let's see. Bro Axiom Gaming on Tuesday, and that is with Roke and Dan. I think they're still playing God of War on that, and I think that's it. I don't think I'm missing anything. Hopefully, I'm not.
That's some good stuff, though.
Yeah,
that's all right. Good. Well, and follow you on Twitter so that you can keep up with all that stuff.
Yeah.
And Nick, tell us who we have on Podcast of the Wheels this week.
Absolutely. I recorded, actually, we missed a week this week. It was my fault. I was slow in editing and getting things to be uploaded.
That's right. At least you didn't
we have
tweet
a great
about it and telling people how important your editing is. I'm sorry. Sorry. That's it's okay.
Yes.
He doesn't listen to this shit. So.
This coming week.
Woo, yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
It's a good one.
All right.
It's a good one.
Anyway,
deep cuts around here. Yes, I have an episode coming out this week on Podcast of the Wheels with Cody Marlar. Cody is Chris is over here still looking at these Star Wars cards.
I'm sorry. Go.
He's thinking about it.
He doesn't know what to do. Cody Marlar is a on the rise TikTok star. He and his wife Leslie have a really fun feed. It's very husband and wife. They've got kids. It's a lot of good like couples humor, all that kind of stuff. And he was live a couple weeks back, and I had been following them because I just kind of enjoyed what they did. And literally on a lark, just out of curiosity, I said, "Hey, Star Wars on a scale of meh to I love it, where are you?" And in the live, he responded, "Holy crap, I'm like 10 times past I love it." And I went, "Oh, like let's set something up." So I sent him a message, recorded, had a lot of fun. I actually borrowed with permission Pete's 10 question segment, which is a cornerstone of the Around the Galaxy podcast.
Yeah, it's
and
ATG
it was
cast
great
feed.
to. That's right.
shared-
Well, it was
it's a
great
shared
to
resource.
hear. That's right. But it was great to hear Cody's story and how he came to love Star Wars, what it means to him. We talked about new Star Wars, and then we dug into those 10 questions, and we just had a lot of fun. So that will be out this week on the ATG cast feed.
That's awesome. Cool. And I was able to record with Jordan Hembrow, and he's the host of our Star Wars story on StarWars.com. He also Toys that Built America. I think I'm probably getting that wrong, but Jordan was on, and we'll have him the week after next. So, gentlemen, this has been a ton of fun, as it is every Friday night, an opportunity to get that Star Wars on, and it was great hanging out with you guys. Nick, as we do every week, may the Force be with you.
Always.
Just one more round, friend, then homeward bound, friend. Don't forget me in your dreams. Just one more song, friend, and then so long, friend. The nights get shorter, it seems. Just one more rhyme, friend. Yes, it's a crime, friend. But you know time, friend. Time can fly. So it's good night, friend. Good night, but not goodbye.